a test. There used to be an old commercial in the 90s that said, "This is a test of the emergency broadcast system. The broadcasters in your area, in voluntary cooperation with the FCC and other authorities, have come together to bring you this test. If this had been an actual emergency, the signal you just heard would be followed by news and other information. This concludes this test of the emergency broadcast system." That was a commercial from 1985. I say that to not only draw us to court, but also to make sure that we're all here and we can hear. Counsel for the plaintiff, Ms. Anna Bartosh, Ms. Mackenzie Wentz, let's give them a round of applause. Ladies, would you test your microphone like I did? You don't have to repeat the whole test, but whatever you got. Just talk to us and make sure that the jury can hear you.
Hello, I'm Anna. Oh, done. Hello, I'm Mackenzie.
Yes. Now, I say that because accounting for feedback, try to speak slowly in your questioning, but also realize there might be some feedback that needs to be adjusted, so be ready for that. All of your work could be sabotaged if you don't present your case well, right? Counsel for the defense, please introduce yourself.
I'm Jonathan. I'm Drew.
All right, let's give them a hand. We have two witnesses on either side. Plaintiff's witnesses. We have Mr. Juanes Pinto, Mr. Maria Trimbach. Let's give them a hand. Mr. Javi Garcia and Ms. Hannah Whistle. Let's give them a hand for the defense. And with that, this will be a succinct trial in one session. That's why before 5, after we are starting. But at that moment, let me educate the jury just for a moment. Perhaps you don't remember 4 or 5 weeks ago when we had this first trial, or you weren't here that day. This particular case is a civil trial, not a criminal trial. It's the case of Billings versus Pearson. The plaintiff side will have an opening statement. Then the defense side will have an opening statement. Okay? Then the plaintiff will have control of the board, so to speak. They will call a witness, and they will have a chance to directly examine their witness, and I'll ask you to stay at the table unless you ask to approach, but since we're recording this, if you want to stay at the table. And gentlemen, there is somewhat of a little feedback, I believe. Are y'all hearing a ring? Slight? Okay. Mr. Vaughn says it's slight. Okay. Direct examination of witness number 1, and then I'll say cross-examination. Mr. Boyd, Mr. Hoppenstead, you have a cross, and they will elect to or not to, okay? And so direct, cross, perhaps redirect and recross if a cross is taken. But if I think that the questions are going long enough per witness in the sake of time, we'll, I want people to get their points out, but we will move on if we need to. 2 witnesses, and they'll rest their case. 2 defense witnesses, direct, cross, redirect, recross. Closing statements, plaintiff, defense. We will exit the room, go toward the art gallery. Mr. Vaughn will be the chief jury foreman for votes, and you will determine whether the plaintiff or the defendant, if the plaintiff is found liable for this case. It's not a guilty, not guilty. This isn't criminal law. It's civil case. So it's liable or not liable, and if you do find the plaintiff liable, are there any damages that you're willing to award? And so that is basically a vote, and that will happen. With that, it is 5 after. Welcome to this case. We're ready to begin. I'm serving in the role of judge today. I appreciate very much your attention. If jury members have any trouble hearing, just kindly slip up your hand. I do encourage you to close your laptops and your phones so that you can give proper respect to those who have prepared and worked for what can be somewhat of a nerve-wracking experience. Overarching business principle is this: we live in a litigious environment. Try to help your organization stay out of court the best you can. Let's begin. Plaintiff, do you have an opening statement in the case of Billings versus Pearson?
Yes, we do.
Please proceed.
May it please the court and jury, this case is about a school's fundamental failure to protect a student and classmates' relentless campaign of psychological warfare. Alex Billings entered King High School as an optimistic freshman. Instead of an education, Alex received over 2,400 harassing text messages, and was targeted by a social media group with over 200 members dedicated to joning on or making fun of Alex. The evidence will show that C.J. Pearson intentionally engaged in extreme and outrageous conduct, even posting a photograph of a gun directed at Alex. Despite Alex reporting this to the school counselor and showing a harassing text, the school administration did nothing. They chose to hide behind policies rather than protect a child in crisis. As a result, Alex suffered severe emotional distress, eventually diagnosed as post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD. We ask this court and jury to hold the Metro City School District liable for negligent supervision. Billings requests relief of $75,000 to pay for St. Joseph Academy's tuition, as well as an award for pain and suffering as authorized by New Columbia Civil Code 4372. Billings also requests that KHS update its anti-bullying policy to include cyberbullying and that the school district fund provide bullying prevention training to its 75,000 students and staff. Billings asks the court to make a finding of intentional infliction of emotional distress against Pearson and requests an award for pain and suffering as authorized by Civil Code 4372. We would also like to include the witness statement of Dr. Gabriela Rodriguez, the school psychologist at St. Joseph Academy, who could not be present today. We will read her statement verbatim as was submitted to the court to use as evidence within the proceedings. My name is Dr. Gabriela Rodriguez, and
This is from the affidavit of Dr. Gonzalez that's not able to be here. Rodriguez, excuse me. May I ask Ms. Bartosh one question? So you're suing for $75,000 to cover tuition. You're suing for an anti-bullying policy update. The tort claim that you mentioned to this court about intentional infliction of emotional distress, do you have any damage, any monetary damage figure that adds to that, or are we sticking with the $75,000 plus the bullying?
just the 75.
Thank you very much. Please proceed. This will be the statement that you're reading to this court, which we've allowed in pretrial motions.
My name is Dr. Gabriela Rodriguez, and I have a PhD in school psychology from the University of Santa Fe, which I attained through an online PhD program. In this PhD program, I wrote my thesis about how juveniles exhibit post-traumatic stress disorder symptoms. I'm the school psychologist at St. Joseph Academy, and I was recently promoted to the head of the recruitment committee. I love my job, and I am always excited to bring new students into the community. To give you a little bit more information about the school, it is a private Christian institution started in the 1950s by reverends who wanted to enrich teenagers' lives by providing them with a rigorous education that encompasses the morals and values of the Christian faith. Although the religious focus of the school has significantly lessened throughout the 1990s and today, we will still conduct a moment of silent reflection and prayer at the beginning of each day, and students are required to study theology and the history of religion. As a private school, the school does not receive any public funding. Instead, we rely on student tuition and donations to keep our school running. We charge each student $20,000 for each year's tuition, and a student who studies all 4 years of high school pays a total of $80,000 in tuition over 4 years. We think that is a very reasonable rate, considering that the average yearly tuition at private high schools is $29,000. We do offer limited financial assistance to students in need, and we work with families to reach creative solutions to come up with the required tuition. Students are not permitted to graduate early, and we are only charging the Billings family $15,000 for this school year since Alex started with us in December. I saw Alex Billings for the first time on December 2nd, 2010, when the Billings dropped by our school seeking information about enrolling. They were directed to me because of my role on the recruitment committee, but I ended up speaking to both of them as a school psychologist. I immediately sensed that they were both very upset. It looked as if Alex had been crying. They explained to me what had occurred to Alex at the school. Mrs. Billings believed that the KHS administration was incompetent and unable to keep Alex from being harassed, so it was impossible for Alex to receive an adequate education there. Ms. Billings felt forced to find an alternative school for Alex. Ms. Billings was particularly upset that KHS, its counselor, and its principal had done nothing to stop the bullying. I read the KHS bullying policy and feel that it does not go far enough. It should cover bullying that goes on outside school grounds and school events, like the SJA policy does here. If bullying affects a student's life at school in any way, that conduct should be banned by the school. Schools that allow any form of bullying by one student over another are negligent in their responsibilities. I rejected the KHS approach when I worked on our anti-bullying policy. Metro City School District definitely negligently supervised Alex Billings. We discussed the expectations and culture at SJA, and it seemed to me that Alex would be a great fit for our school. At that time, I decided to begin the enrollment process. The first step in this process is to administer an emotional and academic evaluation of the student. We use the results of these evaluations to tailor an individualized course of study for each student based on their academic and emotional needs. I concluded from Alex's emotional evaluation that he was left with lasting emotional trauma from the bullying he had experienced. In fact, I diagnosed Alex with post-traumatic stress disorder using a PTSD diagnostic test. There are 6 criteria required to be diagnosed with PTSD. First, they must experience a traumatic incident where they are threatened. Second, they must somehow relive that traumatic experience. Third, they must experience avoidance symptoms. Fourth, they must experience hyperarousal symptoms. Fifth, these symptoms must be present for over a month. And finally, the symptoms must negatively impact the person's life. I conclude that Alex meets all 6 of these criteria. I also believe that the PTSD symptoms stems not only from Pearson's harassment, but also from the way Alex was treated by KHS administration. Alex expressed strong feelings of helplessness and even fear. By skipping school at KHS, Alex demonstrated avoidance of the contact with Pearson that Alex felt was causing the trauma. Finally, the symptoms Alex displayed had a great negative influence on his life. There is no question that they caused his poor attendance and low grades at school. Based on this evaluation, I decided to place Alex in a specialized educational program catering to students who have experienced emotional trauma. Within this program, I'll be checking on his progress on a weekly basis, and he will participate in a counseling program in which we will assist him in recovering from the PTSD. SJA is going to assist Alex and give him the support he needs to move past this horrific experience and to excel as a high school student. The support is something that every student deserves, and it's obvious that KHS was unable to provide it.
Okay. Anything further, Ms. Bartosh, or does that conclude your opening statement?
That concludes our opening statement.
Okay. Ms. Wentz, anything to add, or is that where we are? Okay. Both sides do have medical experts that were not able to attend this trial due to the busyness of their practice, and so both sides have the opportunity to include any or all of the medical statements. Thank you to the plaintiff. To the defense, opening statement. Mr. Hoppenstedt, Mr. Boyd.
Yes, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, today my co-counsel and I seek to prove 2 things. First, not only did Keynes High School not act negligently in their supervision of Alex Billings, but even if they did, by that same standard, there is another party in this very courtroom that bears even more responsibility for any negligence leading to our present circumstances that eclipses any and all negligence from KHS. Second, we will prove that regardless of whether or not you think C.J. Pearson's conduct was acceptable or appropriate, it does not in and of itself reach the standard of egregious conduct necessary for financial remuneration. Now, we also have an expert witness who is the school counselor, but we will not be reading their statement into the record today because we personally find that the statement of the results of Alex Billings' situation has no bearing on whether or not the school is negligent or whether or not C.J. Pearson's conduct was acceptable. The effects do not mean that they were negligent or that the conduct itself was egregious. That is what has to be established. Thank you.
Anything further, Mr. Boyd? Okay. Thank you to the defense team. Plaintiff, you have the case. Do you have to call your first witness, please?
We would like to call Alex Billings to the stand.
Mr. Billings, please come forward. Billings, you promised to tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth, God, within the context of this collaborative learning environment fictitious case. You are under oath for the purposes of this trial. Please proceed with your direct examination, plaintiff.
How did your relationship with CJ Pearson change after the orientation?
It was a nightmare. He invited me to hang out once with him and his friends at GoGo, and as soon as I arrived, he started calling me names, making fun of my appearance, and it became a nightmare.
Roughly how many text messages did CJ send you over those 3 months?
Over 2,400 messages.
And how did those text messages make you feel?
They made me feel horrible. They have affected me a lot. I felt very sad. I didn't want to go to school anymore because of those text messages.
Can you describe the MyFace group that CJ created about you?
Yeah, he created a group chat named I Hate Alex Billings, and in that group chat, he sent funny names, started calling me funny names, and making fun of me.
When you met with the counselor, Ms. Cook, what did you show them?
I showed them the most horrible and the worst messages CJ sent about me.
And then did the school ever follow up with you after that meeting?
No, I never heard from them again.
We have no further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you. The plaintiff defense, do you have a cross-examination of this witness? Please proceed.
Mr. Billings, were you ever physically harmed by CJ Pearson?
No,
While this was going on, you never mentioned the situation to your parents, correct?
can you repeat that?
While this was going on, you never mentioned the situation to your parents?
No, until it became a serious thing and I eventually had to tell my parents.
Do you think this could have got better if you did more in your power to make things better for yourself? And instead, do you think you made things worse for yourself by not doing anything and not doing everything in your power to make things better?
Do not recall.
I'll say it again. Do you think things could have got better if you maybe took the right actions? Instead, in your case, you didn't make any actions to talk to your parents or go back to the school counselor and talk to her.
Yeah,
You gave the school a fake parent phone number, correct?
yeah.
That means the school cannot contact your parents about absences, about you skipping school.
It was from an influence from seniors at the freshman orientation, but yeah,
So you would admit that you skip school frequently?
not too often.
Not too often. So when you did skip school, were you not playing video games with your friends? You weren't avoiding danger, you were just playing video games.
Yeah, but that was most at night.
So saying you played video games late at night, do you think that would have affected your attendance not showing up to school?
Yes,
When you first spoke to a counselor, you blamed video games and not Pearson, right?
yes,
You did not immediately report bullying when asked. Is that correct?
Sorry?
You didn't report the bullying when it was going on, when it first happened?
no, but at some point I had to. Yeah,
And then the counselor told you to come back if things got worse, right?
no,
No? After this happened, you never told teacher, principal, or administrator again, correct?
I told them once and never heard from them again.
But the counselor told you to come back if anything happened, if it kept going on and you never went back.
No,
Did you ever ask Pearson directly to stop?
I feel like there was no need to ask somebody to stop harassing me when there is obvious that shouldn't happen in the first place.
You continued to respond to his text.
At first, and then I ignored them, and they kept coming at me. I just kept receiving text messages.
Would you say most of these messages happened outside of school?
Yes,
And then you still had friends and social interactions, right?
Sorry?
You still had friends and social interactions with other peers, right?
Yes.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you, defense. Plaintiff, do you have any, redirect any questions?
Yes.
Please proceed.
You gave a fake phone number to the school, but did you change their email or house address for your parents?
No.
Okay, so would you say that the school could still contact your parents through another method?
Yes.
Okay. And would you say that you felt depressed or alone?
Yes.
No further questions?
No
For the
further
plaintiff?
questions.
Any recross?
Yeah.
Mr. Boyd?
Would you say that you not reaching out to your parents or the school should be on you for your depression, for feeling alone?
Yeah, but at first I just thought it would stop and it didn't, so
Why do you feel like the school and Mr. Pearson should be responsible when you didn't do everything in your power when you were feeling lonely?
because he's the one harassing me and making fun of me, and as a 14-year-old kid, you're not gonna be good when that happens.
But as a 14-year-old, you should still know to talk to your parents when something's going on.
Yes.
And why should this case be on the school and Mr. Pearson and not on your parents for not knowing what their child's doing?
Because the school didn't do anything after I told them.
But the school did ask you to come and talk to them again if anything was going on, and you never did.
I never heard back from them.
They told you to come back to them. How are they supposed to know what's going on in your personal life if you don't tell anyone?
Because they were supposed to reach out to me and say, how is this going? Has this got any better?
So how do you expect them to worry about one kid when they're dealing with thousands of other kids? And why worry about just you?
Because they already knew what happened in the first place.
All right, no further questions.
Witnesses excused. Plaintiff, do you have another witness?
Yes, we would like to call Francis Billings to the stand.
Francis Billings, please approach. Plaintiff, please proceed with this witness.
When did you first notice a change in Alex's attitude towards school?
That happened like not immediately after he came first to the school, but like a little bit later. I'd say like more after orientation.
And how would his mood change?
For me, it would take like I couldn't make him go to school at all, and he was just. I could see that my kid was anxious, and he just had all this like symptoms of like withdrawal and everything.
Before you contacted the school in December, did they ever notify you about his absences?
No, I have not been contacted.
And you never received any type of letters or emails as well?
No.
How did you react when you saw the MyFace post featuring a gun?
I was terrified. I mean, like some kid was threatening my child, so I mean, obviously I took immediate actions on it.
Why did you decide to enroll Alex in St. Joseph Academy?
Because I wanted to keep him away from this bullying history, the situation I mean, and then I just wanted my child to be emotionally safe, and because he has been dealing with, like he's been going through a lot with what Pearson did.
Can you describe his emotional distress?
Yeah, he wouldn't just wake up in the morning. Like it would be, again, as I mentioned before, it would be hard for me to like wake up in the morning, and like I just could see he was anxious, and like his mood just changed. Like he was more like nervous and stressed about something.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Anything, Ms. Winston?
No,
All
sir.
right. Cross-examination, Mr. Hoppenstedt, Mr. Boyd.
Yes. What do you, Miss Billings, believe it means to be a parent?
Well, I think first of all, it's taking care of your child. Providing all the all the essential care that child needs. I consider myself as a good parent because Alex would get all of it.
Absolutely. So, who has more responsibility to care for their child in those ways, the parent or school employees?
Well, obviously me as a parent, but as I've mentioned before, I didn't get any information. I didn't get any letters or emails about my child being threatened or bullied.
Absolutely. Would you say it is important for a parent to be involved in their child's education?
Of course, it is, yeah.
Awesome.
That's why I wanted my child to switch the schools.
Yes. Now, in your statement, you mentioned that you noticed the change in your child's behavior. What kind of changes were these?
As I said, my child wouldn't want to wake up in the morning to go to school. Like, he would be tired, anxious, and stressed. Like, I could clearly see that there was something else going on.
Now, according to your witness statement, you just thought these changes were part of a phase, correct?
Say it again, please.
Whenever you originally noticed these changes, before you found out about any potential harassment, you thought these changes were just part of a phase, correct?
No. I found out about that when I saw the post
Okay.
on the.
And you also, in your witness statement, you actually said that you thought at the beginning, quote, all teenagers have bad attitudes now and then.
Yes, before it actually became a major issue.
Yeah. And you also said that you originally blamed his bad behavior on video games specifically.
Yes, but not that was recurring. That would be going it would just be happening over and over again.
And that was because you had seen him on video games a lot recently.
Yes, but again, I don't think video games would cause what my child been going through. And obviously after this, I found out that.
And yet, even though he had all these problems that you related to video games, why do we have no record of you even attempting to limit his access or use of video games if they were causing these kinds of problems?
Because I didn't think that was because of video games. Well, I didn't think the video games were an issue of my child going through major anxiety and stress.
All right. How many children do you have?
I have 3 children.
All right. And you're divorced, are you not?
Say it again, please.
You're divorced,
Yes,
correct?
I am, yeah.
All right. So you aren't able to watch your 4 children as easily because it's just you. Or your 3 children, my apologies.
I think I've been doing a great job as a parent, especially as a parent who's divorced and taking care of all my children by myself.
Is it true that you have Alex watching his siblings fairly often while you're at work?
No, it's not.
So do you ever have Alex watch them?
Not really.
Well,
No,
according to Alex's statement, you have him watch them fairly often. That's why he has to have a phone on campus.
Not as much as you could think about that.
So what we're seeing here is you decided to have a child who you described as having a bad attitude watch your younger children.
Say it again, please.
So you decided to have a child who you described as having a bad attitude and going through a phase watch your younger children.
Well, I would ask him to watch my younger children when I needed it, and obviously it wouldn't be I didn't leave them for
Would
a
you
long
say
time.
that's a responsible choice?
Yes.
Interesting. How did you find out about the alleged cyberbullying? Were you checking his MySpace regularly or anything like that?
No, not.
So, if I remember correctly from your witness statement, another parent had to call you before you had any idea your child was being cyberbullied.
Yes.
But you alleged that he was grossly failing in school because of this bullying, correct?
Yes.
When did you notice he was failing in school?
As I said, not as after orientation, not that.
So you only, let me get this right, you only took an interest in how your child was doing in school after another parent called you because they spotted the concerning behavior before you did.
Yeah, because I didn't know what was going on, because my child was,
Even though it was on their public MyFace profile.
Yeah, I had no aware of it.
Thank you. No further questions at this time.
Any redirect from the plaintiff? All right, witnesses excused. Any more witnesses for the plaintiff?
No, Your Honor.
Plaintiff rests their case. Defense, do you have what? Thank you, Ms. Billings. Thanks for your testimony. Are there any witnesses that you have? Defense.
C.J. Pearson.
Mr. Pearson, please approach. Direct examination, Mr. Hoppenstedt, Mr. Boyd, please proceed.
Mr. Pearson, some messages were jokes or mutual interaction with Alex, correct?
Correct.
Alex sometimes responded to your messages, right?
Right.
You were told by the counselor to stop, correct?
Correct.
After that, you reduced or changed your behavior.
Yeah, for sure.
You never physically harmed Alex, correct?
No, never.
And you did not force Alex to skip school.
No.
And then, Mr. Pearson, did you mean any harm, or were you just joking with a classmate as high school students do?
Can you repeat that?
You didn't mean any harm to...
No, for sure not. It
to
was just...
Alex, or you were just joking around with the high
Just
school
joking.
classmate?
Just joking.
Okay. No further questions.
Cross-examination, Ms. Wentz, Ms. Bartosh,
Yes.
please proceed.
How did you first meet Alex Billings?
High school, freshman year.
What was your relationship like in the beginning of the school year with Alex?
Just like a friend, classmate.
Did you ever intend to harm or embarrass Alex in the beginning of the school year?
Never.
Did Alex ever ask you to stop sending messages before the school got involved?
I don't remember.
I don't remember. Okay.
No.
Did you ever send messages during school hours or only outside of school?
Good question. I think maybe, but I could not tell you 100%.
Okay. Did you ever delete or apologize for any posts once you realized that they made Alex upset?
Yeah. After knowing everything, of course, since I changed my behavior.
Okay. And then, as you said before, you slowly stopped your behavior when sending messages after Alex told you to stop, correct?
Mm-hmm.
But in the evidence, you were sending 5 to 4 straight messages after he told you to stop. So is that really slowing down?
Yeah, it's difficult to, when you think you are not doing anything wrong, just to stop from, like, cutting it 100% is very difficult, so that's why I did it, but I didn't want to harm his feelings. Just friends, you know?
Did you ever send a picture of a gun to Alex with a context, "This is for you"?
Yeah, but like, not in that way. It was like a joke, you know, between 14 years old guys.
But would you say, with the context of the text messages beforehand and all the bullying happening in the text messages, that the gun could be considered a joke?
Yeah,
Yeah?
I think so.
Did you understand the school's anti-bullying policy at the time?
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
I understood.
Okay. Did
Yeah.
anyone from the school explain that your messages violated those policies? Or did you know yourself?
No, because it was everything a joke, so why would I think that if I was not doing that for that reason, you know?
Okay. So you agreed that when you were told to stop, you didn't comply because you kept sending multiple messages at a time, correct?
Correct.
Correct. Did you ever threaten Alex or encourage others to harass Alex?
No, I would never do that.
But would you say creating a MySpace account just to humiliate Alex is not starting something?
I would say the word is not humiliate, is being friends with 14 years. When you are a kid, you always do stupid things, but not in a bad way. You do things to have fun when you are with your friends. So
you would harass and like send a gun to your other friends stating this is for you?
yeah, I could do that.
Yeah. Okay. Do you think your messages that you're sending Alex could cause like any emotional distress or anything like that?
No, I would never think that.
Okay, why is that?
Because I've never wanted to harm him or make like something bad to him. You know?
Okay, but I'm gonna go back on the gun, so you don't, not harming him or anything, but you're sending him a gun saying this is for you, for obviously big context there.
But what's wrong with a gun? In video games, there is a lot of guns.
But it never stated you guys played video games with each other.
But I knew he played video games, so
Okay. No further questions.
Any redirect, Mr. Hoppenstedt, Mr. Boyd? Witness is excused. Defense, do you have another witness?
We would like to call KHS Principal Brenda Lee.
Principal Lee, please approach. Mr. Hoppenstedt, Mr. Boyd, please proceed with direct examination of this witness.
Good morning, Ms. Lee. How long have you been working in education and how long specifically at KHS?
10 years total in education and 3 years at KHS.
Awesome. So you were on the faculty team that wrote the KHS anti-bullying policy, correct?
Yeah.
And does that policy ever mention cyberbullying?
Not exactly by name, no.
Okay, so why not?
Because we can only control what happens on school premises. We cannot completely stop cyberbullying from happening. It's just not possible. Our policy prevents such from happening on the premises by prohibiting phone usage on school grounds.
So did you receive an email from the school counselor regarding Alex Billings?
I did, yeah.
And what was the content of that email?
She requested information about 2 students, Billings and Pearsons, since she had apparently been having trouble on my face.
Now, what steps did you advise the counselor to take in response to the email?
Well, I reminded her that the phone usage is prohibited on campus, and the school's control when it's on campus is out of our hands.
Absolutely. Did you also advise her that the issue would potentially resolve itself and to only address it if it was brought back up to her?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Did you believe there was a reason to look into the issue further?
No, not really. We have over 5,000 students, and all teenagers have their own dramas, so I just kind of figured it would play out itself. And the email I received based off the counselor, it was just one message that Billings showed her, and it was just based off like a little comment about his clothes that he was wearing.
So the school counselor was only shown one out of all these messages, correct?
Yeah.
So fast forwarding about 2 months, you hadn't heard anything about the situation until Frances Billings, Alex's mother, came to your office, correct?
Yeah, I heard nothing before that.
Yes. What was Mrs. Billings' demeanor when she entered your office?
She was very mad, and she was screaming at me before I even knew what it all was about.
Did Mrs. Billings address the situation, or did she make sweeping claims about the whole school?
She made claims about the whole school. She attacked all the employees and how it was just it was the school's fault.
So she blamed you and the school for the whole situation, Ms. Pearson.
Yeah. And after that, she didn't make any references to Pearson.
So Ms. Billings apparently slammed a printout from my face page in question on your desk. What did you think when you started looking at it?
I was honestly pretty shocked. It was the first time I had seen all of the messages, and many of them were very inappropriate. It actually reminded me of a situation I had with some students making fun of a teacher online. Had I been made aware of the extremity of the situation, I might have intervened as I did in the other situation.
So how did you respond to Mrs. Billings?
Once I was able to get a word in, I sympathized her and I let her know that I was very sorry for her son and what he'd experienced, and that I would be confident in a way that we could find out how to resolve this.
And how did she respond?
She was still very livid, and she wasn't interested on staying. She just wanted to withdraw her paperwork, and I tried to calm her down, and she went to revisit the issue when her tempers was calmed down, but she stormed out of my office and went to the registrar.
All right, thank you. No further questions.
Cross-examination, Ms. Ms. Bartosh?
Yes.
Please proceed.
Principal Lee, is there ever a time in which a gun is appropriate and with the words, "This is for you"?
Sometimes with dealing with high schoolers, it does come up, but we don't obviously encourage that, but it might come up because a lot of them do play video games.
Okay. Based on your training, would you find that to be a threat?
In some cases, but as I said, they all play video games, so it might come off as not a threat, more of a joking manner.
Were you on the committee to write the anti-bullying policy?
Yeah.
Does this cover cyberbullying?
The policy does not know because we can't handle the phone usages.
What exactly is there, like, is there a policy on cyberbullying? If so, like, what is that policy?
Not exactly. We just mainly cover bullying in general because, like I said, we can't control what the students do on their phone because in our policy for rules and stuff, they're not allowed to have their phones.
Well, from your witness statement, it says, I think all of this uproar about cyberbullying is silly, and it just shows you how overly sensitive people are today. Our anti-bullying policy is completely adequate and is used at KHS whenever alleged bullying is reported. It covers conduct ranging from offensive to causing fear of physical harm and emotional distress, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever follow up with Alex after he met with his counselor?
No, because he only showed them one message and the counselor told him to come back and he never did, so I did not follow up. And the one message was just a silly joke about what he was wearing, and that happens a lot in high school, so.
Okay, did the school ever discipline CJ Pearson according to the policy you guys have written?
No, but we did tell him to back off and he started to fix his behavior after we told him to stop.
But in evidence, you told him to stop and back off, but he still didn't do that. So were there any repercussions after seeing that he was not stopping?
No,
No?
because it never came back to our attention.
Why did the email about Alex and emotional distress, harassment, and bullying from the counselor not alarm you?
Can you repeat that?
So you got an email from the counselor about Alex. It's saying emotional distress, harassment, and bullying from the counselor. Why did that not alarm you?
Well, because the counselor did say it was just like one single message, and I responded, just said to, if it gets worse, to come back to us.
Okay, but if you knew there was one message, why did you not meet and ask for all of the messages?
Because I don't think that they mentioned that there was a bunch more, to the extreme of 2,000. We didn't know that until the very end.
But even if you didn't know, it was one message about a kid being bullied, so why not ask, even if you don't know for sure, to see the rest of the messages?
Because we didn't know at the time that there was more messages. And like I said, high schoolers, they're just always bickering back and forth. So it wasn't alarming at the time.
So it wasn't alarming. But in your statement, it says the counselor mentioned that Alex had been having some trouble with CJ Pearson on MySpace and requested any information I had about these students. I don't like to patrol MySpace. That's outside the bounds of school. However, I did have to discipline students for a MySpace posting a couple of years ago that started a group called Our Math Teacher is Dumber Than a Hamster. It brought the math teacher to tears, and I called the students who made the group into my office and made them erase the page in front of me. I had to do it to protect the teacher, my employee. I also felt compelled to intervene because I knew it was affecting her teaching performance. She couldn't concentrate on her lesson planning because she was constantly obsessed over how much the student hated her. So my question is, why are the employees being protected for cyberbullying but not your students for a similar, if not worse, situation?
Because we knew the full extent of that situation, and it was being brought to our attention constantly, and the teacher kept coming back to us, but Billings did not.
But if you saw that one of your students was absent for so many periods of times, and you had an email sent to you about something like that, why'd you not investigate more and figure out what was going on in that situation?
Well, the absences were, told to our counselor it was because he would stay up late playing video games, so it did not raise any red flags.
Okay. You knew there was a problem between the two students because of an email you got. You couldn't have taken the time to look at the MySpace account like you did with the other teacher situation?
I guess I could have, but I didn't. But like I said, that one was being talked about way more around school, and everybody knew about it, and it kept coming to our attention.
You also stated in your statement, Pearson's treatment of Alex Billings may have made Alex feel uncomfortable, but it was not discriminatory. It was not based on traits protected by federal civil rights laws, race, color, national origin, gender, or disability. It was a private matter between Alex and CJ, and it was not the school administration's place to intervene. How do you know that?
Just because, like what I was told, it was just a comment about his clothes, and that's nothing crazy.
Okay, you also said things were probably not even that bad for Billings. This lawsuit is just another plot for a parent to try to wrangle money out of our Metro City School District. How how do you say it's just for the money?
Well, I guess I don't really know.
Did you ever punish Alex or CJ for the cell phone policy as they were using it in school?
No, because we have over 5,000 students. I can't control every student and when they're on their phone and what they do on it.
I don't think I have any further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you. Any redirect? Mr. Hoppenstedt, Mr. Boyd?
Yes, just a few things. So you have 5,000 plus students, correct?
Yes.
And just ballpark, how many messages do you think 5,000 high school teenagers send per day?
A lot.
A lot. And you think you could, in the course of your natural life, read every single message that every student in your school sent in just 1 year?
No, no way.
No. So, based on this, what you're saying is that because there was only one message and it wasn't that bad, you had no reason to spend hours of time you could be spending helping other students looking into this one situation that may or may not have any issues.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. No further questions.
Any recross? Ms. Bartosh, Ms. Wentz?
Okay, so you say that you can't focus on just 2 students and text messages and everything like that, correct?
Yeah.
But you had 300 plus students on that MySpace account threatening, bullying 1 per student. You can't tell me you had no idea anything about that. There were 300 out of the 5,000 students.
Well, yeah, but high schoolers aren't just going to go, they're going to do their jokes online. They're not going to go straight to the principal and tell them.
Yes, but if you did go look at the MySpace like you did for your former teacher, you would have seen all of that happening, correct?
I would have, but I looked at my face for the teacher because it kept coming to my attention, so I had to go do that.
Okay.
But I never heard anything about it.
And then back on, what's her name? What's the mom's name? Francis. Back on Miss Francis's statement, how they were, Miss Lee, if you were a mother, do you think you would come in hot after hearing your son's being bullied by 300 students and a post about a gun stating, "This is for you"?
I probably would as a mother, yeah.
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 Okay, no further questions.
But
Witness is excused. Thank you.
Your Honor, based on the testimony from the principal, we would like the opportunity to recall Miss Frances Billings.
Is there any objection from the plaintiff? You may proceed.
Thank you.
You have not rested your case yet, so you may proceed. But I encourage you, please make it brief. We still have to accommodate opening statements, and we have about 10 minutes before we turn this to the jury.
All right.
You are still under oath, Ms. Billings. And plaintiff, you did not make an objection, but I will give you an opportunity to address this witness after that question.
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Billings, like you said, we're running out of time here, so if you keep your answers brief, that would be fantastic. So you are suing the school system for not enforcing its anti-bullying policy, correct?
Yes.
And you are also suing to have the school update its anti-bullying policy to include cyberbullying, correct?
Yes.
So is cyberbullying covered under the school's policy or not?
It is. Well, it should be.
If it is, then why are you suing them to change it if it's already there?
Well, it should be. That should be an adjustment.
So if it's not there, then why are you suing them for violating their code of cyberbullying if it's not covered by it?
Well, because school is responsible for taking care of, like, this type of things.
All right, so when Alex told you about the alleged cyberbullying, you were outraged. I believe those were your words, correct?
Yes.
And you now blame the school for your child's problems, correct?
Yeah, because that happened because of the school negligent.
You also said you were angry with yourself. Why were you angry with yourself?
I don't remember saying that.
Your statement says that you felt like a bad parent because you had been blaming video games for his problems.
Yeah, I've been playing video games first, and
So after learning about the situation, you got in the car and headed straight down to the school where you chewed out the principal, correct?
Well, yeah, I wanted to have a talk with the principal.
Why were you so against moving forward with the school to actually address the problem?
Say it again, please.
Why were you so against moving forward with the school to actually address the problem?
What do you mean by that?
And you said that you weren't interested in resolving the issue, you just wanted to leave.
Yeah, because I wanted my child, as I mentioned before, I wanted my child to be safe emotionally. Because
So you made no attempt to actually resolve the issue, you just blamed the school and then withdrew Alex.
What would be the solution for that if they didn't take actions before that, when principal and the counselor already knew about the issue?
Well, they alleged they didn't know about the issue, and maybe if you had listened
Well,
to the
my
principal, you would have
my
understood
my
that.
child mentioned to the counselor that before, because as I remember, he had a meeting with a counselor regarding his emotional state, and that's when he mentioned it to the counselor, and then counselor, I don't know. If it's-
And so you also said that you took Alex to the school with you, but we have no record of you ever wanting him or allowing him to speak. Why did you bring Alex to the school with you?
I mean, because he would be the one, obviously, who could say the most about it,
But you didn't have him say anything about it.
because he didn't want it.
So is it possible that you took him there because you wanted him to see you being a good parent for once?
No.
You said you made the decision to remove Alex from school quickly. Was that the responsible thing to do?
Yes.
You also said in your statement that you let your anger take over during that whole time, correct?
Say it again, please.
You, in your statement, said that you let your anger take over during that whole time, correct? When you made the decision and went to the principal and withdrew Alex.
Well, I was frustrated. I was desperate. I didn't know what to do.
Well, your statement specifically says, and I quote, you let your anger take over. And do you think that anger leads to any kind of responsible decision making?
Well, for me as a parent, I had to take any actions that were needed for my child to be emotionally emotionally safe. And I mean, I did everything I could done. And after my son switched the schools, he's been doing really good, and he's been feeling good after that. So I think it was a responsible decision.
All right, so it was a responsible decision made purely out of anger.
Well, I was frustrated. I didn't know what to do. I would do this no matter what, if I was angry or not. Well, obviously I was angry at the administration of the school because they didn't take any actions on it.
All right, thank you. No further questions.
Any questions of this witness in the recall?
No.
Okay. Witness is excused. Defense, do you have any further recalls, or does the defense rest?
We would like to rest.
The defense rests. Plaintiff, closing statement. You have 2 minutes, and I will time the 2-minute opening statements. You have closing statements. Ms. Wentz or Ms. Bartosh? Please proceed.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, throughout this trial, you've heard testimony, reviewed messages, and considered the events surrounding the interactions between C.J. Pearson and Alex Billings. The plaintiff claims that C.J.'s actions were extremely outrageous and intentionally harmful, but the evidence tells a very different story. You heard from C.J. Pearson, a student who never intended to hurt anyone, who believed the messages were casual and joking, who stopped once the school made him aware of the issue. You heard from Principal Lee, who explained that the school followed its policies, investigating promptly, and took appropriate steps to ensure both students were safe. School acts responsibly, and CJ cooperated fully. Hold on. This doesn't sound right. Hold on. This isn't our, no.
Take your time. You've got a minute 10.
Oh, great, because this would be theirs. Their closing statement. Mm-hmm. This is theirs. This is why they didn't say no.
40 seconds.
There's no closing.
We won't have a closing statement.
Okay. Defense, 2 minutes, not to exceed. Begins now.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, this case is not about whether hurtful words were said. It is about whether the defendant's actions rise to the legal standard of intentional infliction of emotional distress, a standard that requires conduct so extreme and outrageous that no responsible person could be expected to endure. This evidence simply does not support that claim. First, Alex Billings did not take responsible steps to protect himself. He gave the school a fake phone number, preventing communication with his parent. He skipped school repeatedly, not out of fear, but to play video games with his friends. When given the opportunity to report the issue, he failed to fully disclose the situation and never followed up with the counselor, despite being clearly told to do so. Alex had opportunities to stop or reduce the situation. He could have reported it again, told a teacher, or even asked Pearson to stop, but he chose not to. The law does not reward inaction. Second, the school acted responsibly. The counselor responded, contacted the principal, and even warned Pearson. Schools cannot control every text message or social media post that happens outside of school grounds. Holding them responsible for that would be unrealistic and unfair. Third, the actions of Pearson, while immature, do not meet the legal definition of extreme and outrageous. There was no physical harm and no threats of real danger, and no conduct that goes beyond all bounds of decency as required by the law. Finally, the decision to transfer schools and the financial burden that followed was made immediately by Ms. Billings.
40 seconds.
She did not give the school any time to resolve the situation, and that she chose to shift and blame everything on the school and Mr. Pearson. The parent should be in full responsibility for the actions, and the school and Mr. Pearson should have no liability. Thank you.
Allow us to recognize the efforts of both sides at this time. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we're going to excuse ourselves. It's 2 minutes before 12 and allow Professor Vaughn to mediate this discussion. You've heard the plaintiff. Just to reiterate, the plaintiff is seeking $75,000 of tuition and updates to anti-bullying policy. Intentional infliction of emotional distress is a tort claim, but that's what they are asking. Defense has, and both have referenced medical experts who are not with us today. And you've heard the witnesses, and you've heard. I will make a point that not to because I'm always proud of both sides, but I want to say this now. Just as Ms. Burgess stepped in as a substitute last time, Ms. Elise Williams substituted last time. She was the alternate and did a phenomenal job in the last trial for that. And Ms. Wentz has pinch hit for Ms. Williams as co-counsel today. So I appreciate all of those who have yielded in different parts and have been great role players. So thank you to everyone. Appreciate you considering these issues. Professor Vaughn, it's your classroom, and we'll be at the art gallery.
Okay, so the issue at hand is civil, so it's libel. Is the school liable or not liable for the incident actions that took place? Do we have any of the jury members have any comments or feedback before we vote? Yes.
So I think that their case was rather invalid in talking about the severity of it because they never even referenced the medical professionals.
Okay, so you're saying they had an expert, but they never referenced it?
Yeah, so they can't comment on severity.
Okay, fair point. They did have a statement from, I guess, the counselor that they read. I don't believe that they read a statement on that side. Any other comments? Nothing? Everybody has decided what they are going, how they're going to vote? Okay, so if they are liable, then the penalty or the damages they're seeking is $75,000 plus a mandated change to the anti-bullying policy to include cyberbullying as well. So I guess we'll just we'll take an initial vote here to see where it stands. It has to be, in a civil case, it has to be majority. Doesn't have to be unanimous. So with that being said, how many would are going to vote for the plaintiff side that the school is liable? Okay, and how many would say that they are not liable? Okay. Anybody, one of you that said that they're not liable, do you want to make any statements or say anything that may or may not change someone else's vote at this time? No? Okay. So it looks like we're voting for the plaintiff side. Are we going to award the full amount or that they're seeking, or are we going to adjust that? $75,000 and amending the policy to include cyberbullying. How many are on board with that? Okay. All right. So outside of that, which side do you think was more prepared? Would we agree that this side was more prepared? I'm a little surprised by the vote, just because they kind of bombed the closing statement, right? Okay, still not enough, but so I believe, yeah, when you're doing something like this, you got to make sure you are ready to go, all right? And that closing statement is like the biggest, one of the biggest, if not the biggest piece, right? Because that's the last thing you hear before it goes to the jury. So I guess you guys were able to look past that. I wasn't. But we will bring them in and let them know. Okay? Caleb, you want to let them know that we have reached a verdict? Okay, so the jury has deliberated, and after a little bit of discussion, the vote was 17-8 in favor of the plaintiff, and the awarded amount will be $75,000, and an amendment to the anti-bullying policy to include cyberbullying.
The damages requested were given.
The damages requested were given, in spite of the fact that the plaintiff's closing statement was a disaster. So.